The British tabloids have, once again, whipped up a frenzy around Meghan Markle, creating a storm of controversy that seems to follow her wherever she goes. This time, it's a seemingly innocuous Instagram post that has sparked their ire, a post that in any other context would have gone unnoticed. The headlines scream of disrespect, of callous disregard for royal sensitivities, painting a picture of Meghan as a perpetual troublemaker. But, as is often the case, the reality is far more nuanced, far more complex than the black and white narrative the tabloids would have us believe. The media's portrayal of Meghan as a scheming provocateur is not only inaccurate, but also deeply unfair, ignoring the multifaceted person she truly is. It reveals a disturbing pattern of bias that has plagued her since her relationship with Prince Harry first came to light, a bias that seems to have no end. This latest episode is a stark reminder of the relentless scrutiny Meghan faces, a scrutiny that is both invasive and unrelenting. Every move is dissected, every word twisted, and every action imbued with sinister intent, creating a narrative that is more fiction than fact. The British press seem determined to paint her as a villain, a constant thorn in the side of the monarchy, regardless of the truth. This narrative, however, is largely a fabrication, a product of their own imagination, rather than any evidence of wrongdoing on Meghan's part, a story spun from thin air. The truth, as always, is far less sensational, far less dramatic than the headlines would suggest. Meghan's Instagram post, the supposed source of this latest controversy, was a simple act of self-promotion, a common practice in the age of social media, something millions do every day. Yet the tabloids have seized upon it as proof of her alleged animosity towards the royal family, twisting a benign act into something malicious. This manufactured drama serves no purpose other than to generate clicks and perpetuate a false narrative about Meghan, a narrative that is as damaging as it is untrue. It's a tired tactic, one that speaks volumes about the media's obsession with her and their willingness to sacrifice truth for a juicy headline, a headline that sells papers but distorts reality. This relentless negativity takes a toll that is both emotional and psychological. It's impossible to ignore the impact of such constant scrutiny, the way it chips away at one's sense of self, eroding confidence and peace of mind. Yet, Meghan has remained remarkably resilient in the face of this onslaught, showing a strength that is both admirable and inspiring. She has refused to be defined by the narratives spun about her, choosing instead to focus on her family and her philanthropic work that makes a real difference. It's a testament to her strength of character and her unwavering commitment to her values that guide her actions and define her true self. Meghan's recent Instagram post, the epicenter of the latest media storm, was, in reality, a rather unremarkable event. It was just another post in the vast sea of social media updates that flood our feeds daily. It featured a professional photograph of the Duchess, radiating elegance and poise in a tailored black dress. The image was tastefully done, capturing her in a moment of serene confidence. The accompanying caption was equally benign, a simple announcement of her return to Instagram after a long hiatus. It was a straightforward message, devoid of any hidden agendas or cryptic undertones. There was no hidden message, no veiled jab at the royal family, no hint of the disrespect the tabloids would later ascribe to it. It was just a plain, unembellished statement. The post was, in essence, a marketing move, a calculated step to re-establish her presence on social media, a strategic re-emergence into the public eye after a period of relative quiet. It was a way to reconnect with her audience and signal her return to the digital world. It coincided with the launch of a new project, a testament to Meghan's entrepreneurial spirit and her desire to forge her own path. This new venture was a significant milestone in her career, reflecting her ambitions and goals. This is hardly the behaviour of someone intent on disrespecting the monarchy or disrupting royal life. It was a respectful, non-controversial post. The media's interpretation of the post, however, bore little resemblance to its actual content. They twisted a simple social media update into a sensational story. They chose to focus on its timing, claiming it was deliberately released to overshadow King Charles's return to work after a brief illness. This narrative was spun without any factual basis. This narrative, completely devoid of evidence, was quickly amplified across the internet, fueling the flames of outrage and painting Meghan as insensitive and self-serving. The backlash was swift and intense. This blatant misrepresentation of a harmless social media post is a prime example of the double standard Meghan faces. The scrutiny she endures is unparalleled. While other public figures regularly use social media for self-promotion without attracting undue attention, Meghan's every post is scrutinized for hidden meanings and sinister motives. Her actions are constantly under the microscope. This hyper-focus on her online activity, often divorced from context or common sense, reveals a clear agenda on the part of the British press, one that seeks to portray her in the most negative light possible. The relentless criticism she faces is a stark reminder of the biases that persist in media coverage. The crux of the media's outrage over Meghan's Instagram post lies in its supposed timing. They argue that by choosing to re-emerge on social media on the same day that King Charles returned to work after a brief illness, Meghan was deliberately attempting to steal his thunder and garner attention for herself. This accusation, however, is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how social media works and a willful ignorance of the logistics involved in such endeavours. The reality is that managing a public figure's social media presence is a complex process, often planned weeks or even months in advance. Posts are carefully crafted, scheduled and coordinated with other events to maximise their reach and impact. This involves a team of professionals who meticulously plan every detail to ensure the best possible outcome. To suggest that Meghan, or anyone for that matter, could have foreseen King Charles's illness and timed her Instagram post accordingly is not only absurd but also indicative of the media's eagerness to attribute malice to her actions. It reflects a broader tendency to scrutinise her every move with a lens of suspicion. Furthermore, even if the timing of the post had been a conscious decision, which is highly unlikely, it's crucial to remember that Meghan is entitled to her own personal and professional life. She has the autonomy to make decisions that best serve her interests and those of her family. She is no longer a working member of the royal family and is therefore not bound by the same constraints and expectations. This freedom allows her to explore new opportunities and engage with her audience in ways that were previously not possible. She has every right to pursue her own endeavours, promote her work, and engage with her audience on social media, regardless of what else might be happening in the world of the monarchy. Her actions should be viewed through the lens of her current role and aspirations, not her past affiliations. The media's insistence on viewing everything Meghan does through the lens of her relationship with the royal family is both reductive and unfair. It oversimplifies her identity and reduces her to a mere extension of her past. It denies her agency and perpetuates the false narrative that her every action is motivated by a desire to either undermine or upstage the monarchy. This narrative is not only misleading but also harmful, as it fuels unnecessary conflict and misunderstanding. This narrow and distorted view prevents any possibility of seeing Meghan for who she truly is, a talented, ambitious and independent woman simply trying to navigate her own path in the world. She deserves to be recognized for her individual achievements and contributions, separate from the shadow of the royal family.